I subscribe to Seth Godin's daily email, and you should too. They're always short, pithy, always make a great point, and some hit home more than others. And this morning's, I thought, hey, I really like the fact that he was really congruent with what I teach and preach out there myself. And he talks about, and it kind of gets into kind of a branding discussion and how you compare yourself to the competition. And he talks about mustard. He talks about the type of mustard that you might get if you go to an upscale restaurant, like a Dijon type of mustard, as compared to the mustard that you would get at, say, a baseball game. A ballpark, when you get a ballpark frank and you get the yellow mustard and you squirt it all over the place, that while the production costs of the different food product that is in there, the different mustard, might not be very far apart. Obviously, the cost of buying the cheap, you get a cheap yellow mustard, versus this Dijon type of mustard. I mean, and think about how they are presented. And this is the question that I would have with you, is that, do you consider yourself to be the Dijon mustard of your industry, or are you just the common cheap yellow mustard that you put on hot dogs? And what does that mean? Well, it also means that if you are this more expensive mustard, the Dijon, how is it presented to the marketplace? And I often say that everything walks the talk. Everything has to be congruent with that message that you want people to get from you. Now, Seth talks about, he says, yes, there's a mustard analogy in everything that you do. I'm reading his blog post right now. It's in how you shake your hands, in the typeface you use in presentation. It's whether you even call it a font. It's in the volume you choose for your voice in conversation. It's this. He's saying that you're basically syncing everything with that message, and that's why I always say, look, yes, if you want to become uncopyable, you pick a lane that you can go in and that you can own that lane. And then everything that you do, from, as Seth says, shaking somebody's hand, to the font style that you use, on your business cards, in your presentation, the way that you answer the telephone, your business cards, everything walks the talk. I remember many years ago, back when Kay was pregnant with Kelly, we took a couple of days to go down to the coast, and Kay was, and of course this is all pre-cell phones, and I still remember Kay on a payphone. She was trying to close a deal on a speech for me to give to an organization, and I still remember she's standing there outside at a payphone, and she's pregnant. And I can hear her talking to this prospect of ours, and he is asking the question, why is Steve so much more expensive than anybody else that we can bring in right now to work with? Why should we pay him for that? And Kay's exact response to him was, do you drink wine? And the guy said, yeah. And she said, well, think of it this way. Think of the different types of wine that you can buy. You can buy really cheap wine. You can buy wine in a box, right? Or you can have a really nice glass of wine. And she was referring to dinner that we'd had the night before. She was not drinking wine, but she was referring to me choosing a glass of wine, and that I chose to get something like a $15 glass of wine versus a $6 glass of wine, because the perception was that it would be much better, it would be a better quality, the experience that I would have with them would be different. So wine, mustard, whatever you want to use for your analogy of thinking from your perspective of your company, what are you? Where are you in that marketplace? What is that lane that you're going to pick? And what are you doing to reinforce that message. If you want to be the most expensive in your marketplace, and boy, I love it when you do, then what are you doing to reinforce the fact that that's what you do? Because, for example, when you buy an Apple product, think about just the packaging that comes with the Apple product. The packaging reinforces the perspective that they want us to have. So think about Seth. If you don't get his daily email, go sign up. Go to his website. I think it's just sethgodin.com. Sign up for his daily email. You'll be glad you did. It's very short, easy to read, lots of great stuff. Also get great stuff from me, I think. This is Steve Miller, better known as Kelly's Dad and Marketing Gunslinger. Thanks again for joining me this week. I'll be back again next week with another Uncopyable Business video. And in the meantime, always remember to be uncopyable. Which mustard are you?